Good evening. Thanks for joining us, and you're watching the evening edition of News on 2 with me, Muhammad Amin Carlos. Our first headline story. Well, former Felda Chairman Tan Sri Muhammad Isa Abdul Samad was charged at the Kuala Lumpur Sessions Court today with 1 count of criminal breach of trust, CBT, and 9 counts of corruption involving more than 3 million ringgit in connection with a hotel purchase in Kuching, Sarawak by Felda Investment Corporation, FIC. However, Tan Sri Muhammad Isa pleaded not guilty to all the charges, which were read out before Judge Azura Alwi. On the first count, Tan Sri Muhammad Isa was charged as director of Felda Investment Corporation, Sendirian Berhad, entrusted with the company fund, had committed CBT by approving a proposal for the purchase of Merdeka Palace Hotel and Suites in Kuching, Sarawak for 160 million ringgit without the approval of the Felda Board of Directors. His action was contrary to the decision of the Felda Board of Directors at its meeting number 303 dated 25th June 2013 that was made in respect of the implementation of the trust in which members of the Felda Board of Directors had given their mandate to members of the FIC Board of Directors to make decision on investments involving projects valued at 100 million ringgit and below. On the 2nd to the 10th charge, Muhammad Isa was charged with dishonestly receiving gratification for himself in cash totaling 3,090,000 ringgit from Ikhwan Zaidel, who is a board member of Gagasan Abadi Properties, Sendirian Berhad, through one Muhammad Zahid Mad Arif as gratification for helping to approve the purchase of Merdeka Palace Hotels and Suites in Kuching, Sarawak by FIC Sendirian Berhad for 160 million ringgit. Tan Sri Muhammad Isa is believed to have allegedly committed the offences at Menara Felda Platinum Park, No. 11 Pasiaran KLCC at the Federal Capital between 29th April 2014 and 11th December 2015. He was later allowed bail of 800,000 ringgit in one surety. Judge Azura Alwi also ordered the former Felda chairman to post the full amount of the bail today and also to surrender his passport to the court. She then fixed 25th January next year for mention. UMNO President Dr. Ahmad Zahid Hamidi was charged at the Kuala Lumpur Sessions Court today with an additional count for criminal breach of trust CBT involving 10 million ringgit belonging to Akal Budi Foundation 3 years ago. Now, the former Deputy Prime Minister, however, pleaded not guilty to the charge before Judge Rosina Ayub. Following the additional charge, 65-year-old Dato' Sri Dr. Ahmad Zahid is now facing a total of 46 charges, comprising 11 counts for CBT, 8 counts of bribery and 27 counts of money laundering. Regarding this latest charge, Dato' Sri Dr. Ahmad Zahid, who was trusted with 10 million ringgit of the foundation's fund as a trustee of Akal Budi Foundation, was charged for allegedly committing CBT by dishonestly lending it to Armada Holdings Sendirian Berhad. He was charged under Section 409 of the Penal Code with committing the offence at Affin Bank Berhad, Jalan Bunus Branch, Nombor 133, Jalan Bunus of Jalan Masjid India on 8th December 2015 and faces an imprisonment of up to 20 years, whipping and fine upon conviction. Deputy Public Prosecutor Dato' Raja Rosella Raja Toran, who prosecuted, said the prosecution would not request for an increase in bail amount and was prepared to use the bail imposed on Dato' Sri Dr. Ahmad Zahid on 19th October. Dato' Sri Dr. Ahmad Zahid's lawyer, Hisham Tehpok Teik, did not object and the court maintained bail at 2 million ringgit with one surety. A female factory worker was remanded 3 days starting today to facilitate investigation into the discovery of a fetus in the women's toilet at a factory in Batu Berendam, Melaka on Tuesday. Now, the remand order was issued by Melaka Magistrates Court Senior Assistant Registrar Muhammad Anwar Ostadi. The suspect is being remanded until Sunday to enable investigations under Section 318 of the Penal Code for concealment of birth of a child. If convicted, the suspect will face 2 years in jail or a fine or both. The woman was arrested at about 5 p.m. while seeking treatment at the Melaka Hospital maternity ward on Wednesday. On Tuesday, a maintenance worker found what is believed to be a 6-month-old fetus of a baby boy in the toilet bowl of the women's toilet at the factory. The newborn, weighing 450 grams, was discovered when the man was doing repair works on clogged toilets on the first floor at about 10:30 a.m. And in the Aikro Magistrates Court today, a factory employee was sentenced to 1 year in jail after he pleaded guilty to hitting his wife with a plastic chair back in May. Now, the accused, Mohammad Faiz Idris, 31, made the plea once the charge was read out by a court interpreter before Judge Elizabeth Payawan. The accused was charged with intentionally causing harm against his wife, Siti Maria Muhammad Noor, 30, by using a plastic chair to hit his wife on the head, hands and feet. The offence was committed at about 11:45 p.m. at a house in Taman Sejati, Merlimau, Jasin on 12 May. The accused was said to have scolded his child for climbing a chair. However, the wife tried to intervene in an attempt to protect their child. The accused, angered by the woman's actions, then took a plastic chair and hit the victim in response. Judge Elizabeth later sentenced the accused, who was unrepresented, to 1 year in prison starting today. And at the same sessions court, a military personnel pleaded not guilty to beating up his wife in Sungai Udang back in September. And the accused, Muhammad Jamri Nawawi, 36, made the plea once the charge was read out by a court interpreter before Magistrate Muhammad Nazrin Ali Rahim. Magistrate Muhammad Nazrin granted the accused a bail of 3,000 ringgit with one surety. The court set 21st January for remention of the case. According to the charge sheet, the accused was charged with intentionally causing harm against his wife, Siti Nurfaiza Muhammad Yusuf, 35, by punching her face, neck and head. The offence was committed at about 12 p.m. at a house in Taman Sari, Sungai Udang on 21st September. For the offence, Muhammad Jamri was charged under Section 323 of the Penal Code, read together with 326 subsection A of the same code, which carries a jail sentence of 2 years or a 2,000 ringgit fine or both. The prosecution was led by Deputy Public Prosecutor Intan Liana Zainal Abidin, while the accused was unrepresented. Well, Attorney General Tommy Thomas today announced that a fair and equitable agreement will be reached by the various parties involved in the recent disturbance at the Seafield Temple in Subang Jaya. Now, in a statement, Thomas said this followed a meeting between the concerned parties and himself earlier this week. In the meeting, several suggestions were voiced out by the parties involved, one of which was for One City Development Sendirian Berhad to transfer the 1-acre plot of land on which the temple is located to a trust to be administered by the High Court. The AG, in the exercise of his powers as guardian of the public interests with regards to charitable trusts, will apply to the High Court, pursuant to Section 9 of the Government's Proceedings Act 1956, for orders to constitute the trust and the appointment of trustees to manage the trust and the temple. The High Court will be invited to appoint a receiver, who will be a person of repute, who, as an officer of the court, will have control and direction over the trustees of the temple. The High Court will also be invited to transfer the ownership of the land on which the temple is situated to the trustees. The AG hopes to be represented in all the applications before the High Court to ensure impartiality. Now, the bomb threat at the Tampin Hospital today has turned out to be a hoax. Now, Tampin Police Chief Superintendent Ramli Kasa said the police gave the all clear at 9:50 a.m. after a thorough search of the double-story building by 14 members of the Negeri Sembilan Police Bomb Disposal Unit and a sniffer dog from the K9 unit with 2 handlers for about an hour from 8:40 a.m. Superintendent Ramli said the hospital emergency division received the bomb threat telephone call at 5:50 a.m. and the police were notified by Tampin Hospital Director Dr. Norazaliza Razali.
Hasil penelitian awal tu, kami buat kesimpulan tiada objek-objek yang disyaki seperti mana yang disebut oleh pemanggil lah.
Superintendent Ramli further noted that police were tracing the telephone caller and warned of firm action because it involved disturbing public order. Meanwhile, Negeri Sembilan Fire and Rescue Department Director Norazam Kamis said the department deployed 29 officers and personnel from the Tampin, Rembau and Seremban 2 stations and a hazardous materials, a hazmat unit, after receiving the distress call. Now, Puspakom's office in Kuala Lumpur will shift to a new site, while the Road Transport Department, or RTD's office, which is situated nearby, will be redeveloped under a joint venture project with the private sector. And Transport Minister Anthony Loke Siu Fook said the proposal to move Puspakom's office had been approved by the Cabinet after taking into account complaints of traffic congestion in the area, which also included a nearby school. Loke said the government has provided an 18.5 acres of land for the project, which will be implemented on open tender. Apart from that, the project will also include the construction of quarters for RTD officers.
Puspakom ini akan dipindahkan ke tempat lain dan bangunan JBJ yang lama ini akan dirobohkan dan dibina satu bangunan baru dan tanah yang selebihnya diberikan kepada pihak pemaju untuk dibangunkan untuk tujuan komersial. Saya telah membawa perkara ini ke Kabinet dan Kabinet telah pun membuat keputusan untuk meluluskan ataupun meneruskan projek ini tetapi dengan kaedah tender terbuka. Iaitu proses kita akan tender akan dibuka pada tahun depan, awal tahun depan oleh Kementerian Pengangkutan melalui cara RFP ataupun request for proposal. Kita nak membuka kepada mana-mana syarikat pemaju yang lain kalau ada cadangan boleh serahkan ataupun diberikan kepada pihak kerajaan.
The tender is expected to be up for grabs from January next year. Loke also announced that beginning 24th December, heavy vehicles weighing more than 20 tons are not allowed for inspection at the Kuala Lumpur Puspakom, but only at the Puspakom in Shah Alam. The National Higher Education Fund Corporation, PTPTN, needs between 6 and 12 months to review implementation of the new repayment method for study loans. Its Deputy Chief Executive of Policy and Operation, Mastura Muhammad Khalid, said the time frame was necessary for it to discuss with stakeholders on finding a new formula as well as to get feedback from all quarters. Mastura said PTPTN accepts the decision by the Cabinet to postpone the new policy that was announced, as it is the government's intention to help the people, especially borrowers from the B40, so that they will not be burdened. She also said PTPTN will have engagements with interested parties, including stakeholders, employers, borrowers, youth, and the relevant ministries. Last Friday, Education Minister Dr. Masni Malik announced that the new repayment scheme for National Higher Education Fund Corporation, PTPTN borrowers, had been postponed. On another note, the Deputy Chief Executive said a 20% discount would be given to PTPTN borrowers who settled their loan repayment areas between 27 October and 31st December this year. Well, Petronas today signed a Memorandum of Understanding, or MOU, with the Construction Industry Development Board Malaysia, CIDB, to drive construction excellence in the oil and gas, that's ONG, sector through the Construction Industry Transformation Program 2016-2020, known as CITP. Now, the collaboration would focus on 5 key areas, namely corporate agreement, procurement best practices, technology development, material and quality assurance, as well as contractor and construction personnel development.
Sign as witness.
According to CIDB Chief Executive Dr. Ahmad Basri Abdul Hamid, CIDB sees Petronas as a world-renowned Malaysian company, as a valuable partner in the journey towards transforming the Malaysian construction industry into one that is more productive and competitive on the world stage.
Petronas yang boleh menjurus kepada perubahan ini adalah sebenarnya yang boleh orang kata mencetus perubahan dalam industri pembinaan adalah pihak klien. Selain daripada regulatory, pihak klien. Pihak klien ni pihak pelanggan projek seperti Petronas adalah satu contoh ataupun a good example, a good agency to take up the transformation in this particular case, the oil and gas industry.
He believed the collaboration would enhance and increase adoption of modern technologies and practices in the OAG construction sector, especially on industrialized building system, IBS, building information modeling, as well as the Malaysian carbon reduction and environmental sustainability tool.
Okay, thank you very much.
The 3-day 2018 Parti Amanah Negara, Amanah National Convention begins today, and the first after the party became a component of Pakatan Harapan that formed the government. The convention with the theme Fulfilling Trust, Building Nation was held at the Casuarina Convention Center in Meru, Ipoh, Perak, and was attended by 1,000 delegates from 156 party divisions and about 3,000 local and foreign observers. Amanah President Muhammad Sabu delivered his presidential address at about 10 a.m. and will then be debated for 2 days by delegates. The debate on the motion of economy, social, politics, international and education will be on Saturday after the debate on the presidential address. The adjournment speech and winding up by the party leadership is scheduled to begin at 9 a.m. on Sunday. Prior to this, Amanah Secretary General Muhammad Anwar Muhammad Tahir had said that the convention, the third since the party's establishment, served as a platform for a post-mortem on the performance of the party leaders in the federal government's cabinet. In conjunction with the convention, the Perak Entrepreneur and Property Carnival was held at the Bulatan Sultan Azlan Shah Meru since yesterday until Sunday. Well, the heat is on, so Harimau Malaya head coach Tan Cheng Ho wants his players to be cool, calm and composed when they take to the field against red-hot favourites Vietnam in tomorrow's AFF Suzuki Cup 2018 final return leg clash at the My Dinh Stadium in Hanoi. Now, Cheng Ho knows the pressure cooker atmosphere that awaits his men at the My Dinh Stadium as they go looking for a win or, at worst, at least a 2-all draw and take the game into extra time. Cheng Ho said the players need to be focused and wary of the Vietnamese attacks while at the same time enjoy the game, soak in the atmosphere and play with no pressure. He also reminded his players not to repeat the mistakes which led to Vietnam scoring in their last 2 meetings, including in the 2-0 loss to the Golden Dragons in their Group A match last month.
Of course, in the group stage, with more than 60% of the organization, I think we still keep the same way we are playing. Of course, this time will be nothing else to need to score to win a game. I believe my players also have the same philosophy, same way of minding the game, and definitely if we can keep the way we are playing, I definitely have great chances this time to score against Vietnam.
The national coach added that except for left-back Nazirul Naim Che Hashim, who is down with a thigh injury, the rest were all primed for action. Now this just in. Former Information Minister Tan Sri Zainuddin Maidin has passed away at the age of 79 this afternoon. Now, Tan Sri Zainuddin was previously undergoing treatment at the Putrajaya Hospital after suffering from pulmonary edema, a condition caused by excess fluid in the lungs. And may his soul rest in peace. And with that, we conclude this evening's News on 2. Now, top story, Tan Sri Isa Samad slapped with 10 corruption charges involving over 3 million ringgit. You join us again tomorrow at 12:30 afternoon. I'm Mohammed Amin Carlos, and do stay tuned to TV2 and have a pleasant evening.